Welcome to another edition of 805 Sports Talk. Kenny Cress is to my right, Elliott is to my left, and Kenny, you and I finally got some CIF playoff action under our belts for the spring season. St. Joseph's tennis team started off the playoffs with a win at Santa Ynez. It was a very intriguing match. St. Joseph has been fun to watch the last couple years. They just missed out on the playoffs last year. They go 14-4 this year, finished third in the Pac-8. And face Santa Ynez, a team that's long a LPL powerhouse. They go over to Santa Ynez and come away with a victory. You mentioned Nick Stater in your story. Great story from him, moving from doubles over to singles, playing in the number 2 slot. Came up with a couple of huge wins for the Knights, and they were able to beat the Pirates.
Right. If he loses both of those, Santa Ynez wins the match. That was definitely the turning point of the match. St. Joseph's number 1 singles player, Avnish Bhatt, was dominant. He swept St. Joseph's number 1 doubles team of Ben Haskell and Nick Malin, Nick Stater's old partner. They also swept, but Nick's matches were the turning point. In fact, in the second round, he was down 4-3, and his opponent was up 40-love serving, and Nick broke and won the next 2 games. So Nick's wins were the pivotal ones of the match.
Yeah, and it's a good story for Bhatt as well, a guy who started out as a freshman on that program. I think they won just 1 match his freshman year. Then they make the playoffs, and there's some good news for him as well. After high school, he plans to go to Berkeley and possibly play some club tennis over there.
Early on Tuesday, it looked like every game would count as the Knights and Pirates were tied 3-3 after the first round of play. The Knights held a 26-25 advantage in games. But the Knights pulled away with a 4-2 edge in the second round of play. Avnish Bhatt was dominant throughout the day, sweeping at number 1 singles as the Knights won 10-8. Bhatt has spent the last 4 years grinding with this program, helping the Knights finally make the CIF playoffs.
You swept, right?
Yeah.
And you guys get a playoff win. I don't know when the last time this program
it's pretty awesome. It's been at least 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years since we've made it this far. It feels so awesome. Like, started as a freshman. I mean, we won like 1 match the whole season. Now we're here, win a CIF match, getting to go on. It's pretty awesome. It's surreal, honestly.
Did you ever see that possibility? You know, you talk about your freshman year.
I definitely knew. Last year, our junior year, we started building a good team, and we missed CIF just by literally a tiebreaker. We were so close, so it paid off, and we made it here this year. It's pretty awesome.
What do you think it's been with the program? You know, you've been kind of in the forefront as a player. You
Definitely,
know,
yeah.
guys.
I mean, everyone else has just been getting better. I've been getting better. I had a really good year, and these juniors, they all been starting as freshmen. They all getting better every year, putting in the work, and now it's paying off. It's pretty awesome.
Do you think this could be something that continues here at St. Joseph? You know,
I really hope so. I mean, we have a lot of juniors in our JV too, so hopefully we get some more people into the St. Joe's program to keep it going. But for sure, next year it's going to be a good year. I can see them going far as well. The year after that, we'll see how it goes, but it's pretty awesome.
The St. Joseph tennis team, they moved on to play at Kate on Wednesday. They're probably playing right now, so we'll get some results on that one. That was a very tough matchup for them to head to Carpinteria and face the top team. But after that tennis match, I hung around Santa Ynez and saw the volleyball team host a first-round match against Bellflower. The Pirates looked really strong in the first 2 sets, dropped that 3rd set, and then were able to kind of right the ship later on and close out the win 3-1. Another dominant season for Chip Fananga and his Pirates out there in Santa Ynez. They haven't got a lot of coverage this year, but they dominated the Los Padres League, going 12-0. And they're in Division 3 this year, which is a pretty high division for them. They're usually around Division 4, sometimes even in Division 5. So we'll see Thursday if they can, win at Paraclete in Lancaster. That's going to be a tough one. That's a private school way out there in Lancaster. And Chip Fananga says the bus rides are pretty pivotal when you have to get your high school team out of school early, travel down south or wherever you got to go. It can, take some time to get your legs underneath you. So we'll see how they do. But against Bellflower Tuesday night, the Pirates looked great, especially Blake Hadley, who had 16 kills for Santa Ynez in that win.
Although the Pirates had to work a little bit harder than they would have expected in the first round win over Bellflower Tuesday night, the Pirates were happy to walk away with a 3-1 win over the Buccaneers. And Blake Hadley, number 7 here, had a big part in that victory. Hadley, the likely Los Padres League MVP, smashed 16 kills as the Pirates won 25-13, 25-21, losing set 3 19-25, and finishing it off with a 25-20 win in set 4. You happy with the effort tonight? You're a captain of this team. How would you kind of sum up the team's performance to start the playoffs?
We felt pretty confident coming in. We almost got a little too overconfident, starting off 2-0, and then in the third game we had really big trouble serving and covering, so that cost us that third game. But we came back hard in the fourth game and got them, so it feels excellent to win a home game. And we're on the road second round, so hopefully we can pull that away too.
But do you think this team still learns, at this point in the season?
Yeah, I think what we learned mostly in that game is to get each other's backs. After missing a serve, they couldn't really put you down mentally, and we just need to come together in the second round to really bring each other up so we can be more confident on the court.
How would you kind of sum up your season so far? This is the first chance I had to see you play tonight. You look great out there. You've had a terrific season. I'm sure you'll be the league MVP. Did you expect this out of yourself this season, to have such a stellar individual season?
Well, I was on the edge of playing this season, but I realized that in our team I would get set a lot, so I thought I'd try out and have fun just hitting a lot, and it turned out to be a great experience with a great group of teammates, and they've had my back the whole season and helped me be the great player who I've become.
So Elliott, you had a good week wrapping up, I guess, the round table. The luncheons are finally done with for the year, although we do have the end of year banquet coming up. You also got some track and field action underway. What's going on with the round table and the Pac-8 finals?
Well, the round table wrapped up its school year, its regular Monday luncheons, and they named their final 3 athletes of the week. Usually it's 2, but this week they had 3 young people they wanted to honor, and first was Rigetti swimmer Isabella Frere. She was the MVP of the Pac-8 League meet, the league finals at Sinsheimer Pool in San Luis Obispo last week. She won the 100 breaststroke in an automatic qualifying time for the CIF Southern Section preliminaries in 1 minute 6 seconds, .26. And she won the 200 individual medley and swam a leg for the winning 200-meter freestyle relay team. So she had a great showing at the Pac-8 League Finals, and she was the top vote getter for this week's Female Athlete of the Week. And then 2 young men shared the Athlete of the Week, Chris Seif and Josh Ogan from Cabrillo Tennis. They're singles players that had played 3 double sets all season, but they got together with a coach and thought, in the league finals, they might be better off if they switched to doubles. Part of the reason was they had some good players on their own team they didn't want to face, and there were other kids that they didn't want to face, so they didn't want to knock out their own teammates from the competition. So they switched over to doubles, and they did not lose a game in their final 3 sets and came away with the Los Padres League tournament doubles championship. So they took home the trophy and the Athlete of the Week awards for the roundtable. And before that, as a tradition has developed over the years, at the end of the season, Kenny goes to the Los Padres League track finals and follows track because he's an old track star, and I do mean old, but and I go to the Pac-8 finals up in Atascadero every year, and the best showing from a local school was St. Joe's C.J. Cole. He won the 100-meter dash in 10.96 seconds. That's the 3rd straight year he's won the Pac-8 title, and the coaches are all buzzing about that because they said they don't remember anybody winning 3 straight hundreds in the Pac-8 or before that the Pac-7, the league championships. So everybody was congratulating CJ on a job well done. And then he and his teammates, Caleb Manette, Fenton Will, and Michael Powers, came in second in the 4x100 relays. They were the defending champions, but they had a bit of trouble on one of their handoffs, the final handoff, and Michael Powers said he took the blame. He says, I gave it to CJ incorrectly, and as fast as CJ is, he just couldn't make up that split second that he needed, that 100th of a second that he needed, so they finished second. And then Righetti's Kailani Kabanting and Pioneer Valley's Cherry Ine were second and third in the 110 hurdles. CJ Cole, by the way, was fifth in the shot put as well. I mean, he was all over the track, but it wasn't good enough for the local teams to finish high in the standings. Arroyo Grande had another impressive year. They win year in and year out. They took both the boys and girls titles, and San Luis Obispo was second, Paso Robles was third, and that was in both. And I tell you, they have some outstanding track athletes up there in the north, here up in San Luis Obispo County. Atascadero, Mission Prep, Pioneer Valley, Righetti, and St. Joe rounded out the girls' standings, whereas St. Joe came in fourth, Atascadero fifth, Righetti sixth, and Pioneer Valley seventh in the boys' standings. So our local teams have some really outstanding athletes, but they got their work cut out if they want to catch up with those San Luis Obispo County schools, Arroyo Grande, Paso, and Atascadero. They're just monsters on the track. Their uniforms were at the front of everything, all the races, discus, shot put. So there's some impressive kids up there. I mean, they had, who was it, Matt Sill. He won the boys triple jump, the long jump, the 300 hurdles, and finished second in the 100 hurdles. They had kids like that all through their lineup, and they just ran away with the competition. But it was fun. It goes long. You know, it starts at 3 in the afternoon and doesn't finish up till about 9 o'clock at night. It's hot when it starts up there in the Atascadero, and then it gets dark, and everybody's putting their coats on because it's cold before they finally finish. And even after the final races are run, the final relays are run, they're still throwing over in the shot put pit. So it's a long day for the athletes. It's a long day for us that are covering it. And Kenny went through something very similar with the Los Padres League Championship. Every bit as exciting, but of course it was a little different because it's a different league, and this one was held right here in Santa Maria.
Right. There always seems to be one sort of tag event that lags behind everyone else. This time at the LPL meet, it was the triple jump. I don't think they wrapped up until about 8 or 9, but it was maybe about a 7 or 8 hour meet. I thought the biggest highlight came in the first hour. Haley Batty, Cabrillo Senior, popped the long jump of 19.8 1/2. It was her first jump, but it did carry over to the finals. That's an inch out of the top 15 nationally. Sarah Parker had tried and tried to hit that 40-foot shot put mark, and she's a junior at Santa Ynez. She finally did. She had through 2 throws over 40 feet. I would say those were the 2 main highlights. Lompoc boys and Cabrillo girls won pretty convincingly as expected.
Yeah, and you mentioned Batty. I think she's had a terrific season. She was a contributor on that basketball team at Cabrillo that's done really well. And you know, you text me right away on Thursday at the LPL finals. You're like, wow, Batty hit that mark. Yeah, it was like the first, event, her first jump to pop that early before you really get into the flow. The meet was huge for her, and we're going to see if that can carry over. They have the prelims on the weekend, and you're going to be in Carpinteria on Saturday. As for the D4 prelims, we'll have St. Joseph is over there, Santa Ynez is over there, and Apoma are going to be over there at Carpinteria Saturday morning. So we'll see if there are some more, interesting, noteworthy marks. We'll see if, Haley Batty can improve her mark in the D3 prelims. I think Lompoc will also be with them. So definitely some big marks coming up and some big events coming up on the track side. I don't think anyone covers as much stuff as you do in the area. You got the LPL tennis finals as well as the track finals last week. Kind of break down what happened there. We know Chris Seif and Ogun won. On the double side, they're mostly singles players. That was kind of surprising. I don't think Templeton's player that won the singles, that wasn't surprising at all. What went down at the LPL tennis finals?
Well, at least to me, it was a bit of a surprise that the Cabrillo pair won. they beat the Santa Ynez pair, which had been seeded number 1, 6-love, 6-love. But Chris and Josh are both very good singles players. They played number 2 and 3 singles for Cabrillo. Now, as was noted, they had played a grand total of 3 double sets, all as partners together. But they are solid singles players. Cedric Kwan is usually their number 1. He got to the final where he lost to the heavy favorite from Templeton. There has been some rumbling, I think, about people who, in boys and girls, who play singles all year and then switch over to the doubles. But on the whole, I think it's fairly accepted. I do think that, I think it should be allowed. I do think that unless a team has played a significant amount of doubles together, I don't think they should be seeded high. I think that should affect the seeding.
That's true.
But other than that, I think it's legitimate.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to switch. You know, you watch a doubles match, it's, you know, you're playing at the net a lot more usually. The serves are different. You know, there's so much different there. I don't think people realize how big of a switch it is. You know, as we mentioned Nick Stater, who switched from doubles to singles, and he found some success. And then we have the 2 guys from Cabrillo who did the opposite, switching from singles to doubles. That's a big difference. You know, playing with a partner, you got to have that chemistry, and you know, it's a lot different game. It's very different to play with a partner. You know, play at the net a lot more. You're gonna have some different rallies and stuff like that. You got to have different shots. So I think there's something to that where if you can find some success in singles and carry that over to doubles, you know, you shouldn't be, you know, hurt for that.